All right, who else is jamming? Let's go. DJ Megan, thank you so much, DJ Megan Taylor. Next up, we have an inspiring discussion on finding joy and preventing burnout with Rachel Klein. She's a former tech and corporate manager turned KonMari consultant and home organizer entrepreneur, together with my girl, Tara Hudson. She's the director of brand marketing and activation here at the Mom Project. Ladies, the stage is yours.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Hudson, Director of Brand Marketing and Activation at the Mom Project, and mom to a 5 and 7-year-old, so definitely in the thick of it. Thank you all for recharging with us. I feel so seen and refreshed already, and I'm excited to welcome you to our next session with Rachel Klein, founder of Ray Bebe. Rachel started her home organization business in 2020 with the mission of helping people escape the vicious cycle of clutter. As a self-proclaimed neat freak at the age of 10, Rachel not only kept a tidy room, but organized for anyone who would let her. She channeled this passion into a profession, and in 2020, she also became a certified KonMari consultant. Based in Seattle, my home away from home, and a mom to an adorable almost 2-year-old, she works in large homes to small apartments, helping clients identify what brings them joy. Rachel, we're so excited to have you with us today. We'll dive in. I would love to start by hearing about your background and career journey.
Hi, I'm excited to be here. My background is actually in fashion, and I started my career at Nordstrom doing outfit planning for photography. I went into marketing, e-commerce, and eventually buying. And after 10 years, I left fashion for tech. I was lured by the innovation and pace, where in tech, I did enterprise account management and product marketing for almost 7 years.
Wow, that sounds like such a full journey. How would you say motherhood changed your perspective on your career and led you to your pivot?
It wasn't until I returned from maternity leave that I realized how much my perspective and priorities had shifted. After 6 months of leave, I felt ready to have adult conversations again and use my brain to crunch numbers and use my creativity to solve problems. I genuinely thought I would come back, work harder, and hustle my way to a promotion. And I was really vocal about this upon my return and was given opportunities to support this goal. I built a team that I managed. I was given projects that had high impact to the organization and high visibility to senior leadership. This all sounded like a dream scenario. But on the other side of this, I'm a new mom, a first time mom. And childcare was a huge stressor. We had a revolving door of nannies where we were on years long wait lists for daycares because apparently you're supposed to sign up before you're even pregnant. Nobody told me that. On top of that, I'm trying to keep up with my daughter's development and growth. Is she eating enough, sleeping? Does she have enough diapers? Is she gaining weight? Not to mention just the everyday burdens of the home, mealtime, groceries,
Yep.
cleaning, laundry. Even with the help of my husband doing these physical tasks, they just took up a lot of mental space. And I found that my work was only getting more demanding and would never allow me to focus on my daughter in a way that would make me feel satisfied with the care I give her. And during this time, when I went back to work, there was a formula shortage. And of course, my daughter was particular about the formula she drank. So I was always one tub of formula away from everything coming unhinged. So I knew it was time for a change. 6 months into my return to work, I took a 3-month sabbatical. I used that time as a dry run for my pivot. I created a strategy for my business and found the balance between focusing on my daughter and working. And lastly, I got a feel for what it'd be like financially. The sabbatical was exactly what I needed. I came up with a pivot timeline. And I knew I would always be a working mom. And my motivation to have a successful career had not changed. It's just that now the circumstances were different. So I had to find a different path.
Oh, well, one, I want to say thank you for sharing. And two, I felt every bit of that in my soul from the mental load, the invisible work and worry we as moms and caregivers have around organizing and running a home, caring for our little ones, and trying to find that perfect blend in our lives that just
Mhm.
works for our sanity and for our family. I'm so proud of you for using that sabbatical as your pilot time and finding your own baskets, as Marie Kondo said earlier, to plan for what works for you. So tell me, with either on your sabbatical or prior, how did you know that you wanted to get into home organization?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I've always been drawn to tidy spaces since I was younger and always had the urge to declutter.
Yeah,
And I really find it rewarding to help people with this type of work. So when I learned about the KonMari consultant program, I started the certification process almost immediately. And upon completing the program, I knew I made the right decision. I had found my community.
we love community here at the Mom Project.
Yes.
That's awesome, Rachel. I imagine going from a big tech company with a substantial salary to your own home organization business was probably a big financial transition. How did you make it work?
I get asked this a lot and I don't have the best answer. The truth is, before my husband and I were even married, we knew we wanted to have a family and that eventually I would want to have the flexibility to be very involved and present in our kids' lives. So, 5 years ago, we started making financial decisions that supported this potential scenario, not knowing when it would happen. So basically, we address our expenses from a single income perspective to give us cushion for when I make the transition. And, this pivot is very recent. Just this January, did I go full time in my business? I'm still learning, still adjusting. My business has been open for 3 years where I've passively taken on clients. So I have a good sense of my revenue stream and I created a roadmap as to when I would be able to reach financial goals. This pre planning over 5 years ago allowed us to keep our life expenses as normal when I lost my salary. There weren't dramatic cuts to spending on things like groceries, childcare, and personal comforts. And that's how we manage today. And as my business grows, the profit is all just icing on the cake.
Well, I honestly think that that is the best answer. We never know what we'll be faced with, but with preparation and visualization, I think, those things help us along the way. And as you mentioned, being recently into this new transition full time, I'm sure that while leaving a 9 to 5, a traditional 9 to 5 is freeing, I'm quite positive being a business owner and a mom is still stressful, right? How do you, even in this new realm, protect your joy and prevent burnout?
Well, the best part of being your own boss is that you get to do everything on your own terms. When I was working in corporate, especially since I was remote, there was an implied expectation that you're always available. So today, I'm very transparent with my clients that I am a mom first and that I have core hours that I am
Mhm.
available to work and respond to communication. Like they know from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., I go dark. It's the witching hours in our house. And, it can be tempting to make exceptions to get the sale. But honestly, since holding firm to my core hours, I found that clients that truly want to work with me respect these boundaries.
Well, I know all too well how real those witching hours can be. So, sending you all the positive vibes and grace. But I'm also a firm believer in setting boundaries and protecting your peace. So, I really, really just love that advice. And since we're on the subject of advice, is there any advice you would give to those in our audience who are looking to make that career pivot and thinking about it right now?
From the outside, it can appear that I made a career change in January, and here I am 5 months later with a thriving business. I'm just here to say it was far from an overnight success. This has been in the works for over 5 years with a lot of intentional decision making. I'm a planner. So if you're even entertaining the idea of a pivot, I would start researching today, work backwards to understand what it would take to succeed, understand what kind of safety nets you need to put in place. And with every decision, ask yourself, does this support or go against my goal of pivoting? And this is the self fulfilling prophecy piece. When you work intentionally towards something a little at a time, one day it becomes reality. If you don't work toward it, then how can you expect it to happen? So it's this self fulfilling mindset that really drove me in the right direction.
Yes, I love that. It's so true. And it's so important to caveat that pivots, while we love a good pivot at the Mom Project, it takes intentionality, it takes time, it takes thought and preparation. And it's in that recognition of the work that you put in that you can boldly claim the power of the pivot, I feel. And you know what all went into that. So you appreciate it that much more. Well, Rachel,
Exactly.
yeah, what advice would you give moms who are struggling to find balance? I think it it is something that we think about often, and it's the balance. How do you manage your home? But what advice do you give? What works for you?
Finding balance is different for everybody. For me, it's simple. I identify what's overwhelming for me, and then find the right person to ask for help. Maybe it's your parent, a partner, a sibling, friend, and sometimes I just want a sounding board and find a community to tap into. You don't have to take on the mental or physical burden alone.
I love that. I think there's nothing better than community. I feel that that's why we all showed up to the recharge today. Nothing better than feeling seen and feeling heard and supporting each other. So thank you. I think if I could give anyone listening now that huge reminder, it's, tap into your resources and your village because that really helps you through. Well, I've got one last question. I saw that you posted the cutest video of your baby girl with a caption that it's never too late to tidy. Are there any other gems that you're instilling in your little one from a young age?
Well, there's two things that are pretty instinctive to day. One is asking for help. So whenever she starts to get frustrated, I try to prompt her, "Do you need help?" And now she's doing the prompts on her own, and she's proactively asking for it before she reaches a sort of meltdown point. She doesn't always, but she's getting there. She's getting there. And the second thing we always practice is kindness, which is really simple because we have a cranky 9-year-old dog. And so she likes to test his boundaries. And so it's very easy to, remind her to be kind and to be gentle and to think about those things.
I love that. I have a sweet and sassy 5-year-old, and I tell her every day to, never lose that fire. I love the addition of, kindness too. I think, reminding our littles that, what they set their sights on can and will be theirs. And I see
Mhm.
so much of that as self-fulfilling and manifestation too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story. It was powerful and filled with such honesty and transparency and so many needed reminders. I'm walking away feeling inspired to be more intentional. And I hope that we can grab coffee the next time I'm in Seattle.
Yes.
If anyone would love to connect with Rachel, you can find her info in the chat. DJ Megan played it best. We all need love and appreciation, and we at the Mom Project appreciate you. We thank you again for recharging with us. We thank you, Rachel, for sharing such powerful gems with us. And now I'll hand it back over to our fabulous host, Alyssa.
Thank you.
Yay.